Good morning, my dear children. Welcome to St. Michael's e-learning classes. My name is Francis, sir, and today we will continue with chapter number 4 of Social Science for Standard 4. And in our last class, we had finished till this portion where my finger is pointing, life in the Himalayas. So today we will continue further with the second part of the chapter, that is the northern plains. So let's begin. Plains are large stretches of flat land. Such areas of land are usually fertile and have a climate suitable for agriculture. They are suitable for large scale farming. It is easy to construct buildings on plains. Most industries develop along the banks of rivers because of easy availability of water. People prefer to settle down in the plains because of these reasons. As a result of all this, plains are generally well populated and grow in cities. Yes, that is right. First of all, let's understand what plains are. Plains are large stretches of flat land. They are very large and they stretch a lot from one area to another. Such plains are very much fertile, that is, they are very much suitable for agriculture, and they have a wonderful climate for agriculture also. Along with it, they are suitable for large scale farming. You can construct buildings on plains, and most industries develop along the banks of rivers because of the easy availability of water which is available in these plains. So people prefer to settle down in the place because of these reasons. As a result of this, plains are generally well populated, that is, people, they like to settle in these areas, and they grow in cities. The northern Indo-Gangetic Plain are amongst the largest and the most fertile plains in the world. They are located to the south of the Himalayan range. They cover the greater part of North India and hence known as the Northern Plains. These plains extend 3,200 km across west to east and are 240 to 320 kilometers wide, spanning from Punjab in the west to parts of Assam in the east, covering states like Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, and Delhi. So, the northern or the Indo-Gangetic Plains, they are the largest and the most fertile plains in the whole world. They are located where to the south of the Himalayan range, and they cover the greater part of North India, and hence they are known as the Northern Plains. These plains are extending from 3,200 km across east to west, and they are around 240 to 320 km wide, spanning from Punjab in the west part of Assam in the east, covering states like Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, and Delhi. Throughout their expanse, they remain a broad, flat, and level land. So, these areas always remain like a broad, flat, and level land. These plains are extremely fertile because of two reasons. So, now we will understand why these plains, that is the northern plains, they are very much fertile, that is, they are very much suitable for agriculture because of two main reasons. One, they are well drained due to the perennial rivers originating in the Himalayas flowing through them. 2. The rivers bring along with them pieces of rocks, sand, and silt. The finer silt, when deposited by the rivers, form the highly fertile alluvium. So, first reason is that in the northern plains, they have a lot of perennial rivers. Now, we had understood what we mean by perennial rivers in our last class, my dear children. Perennial rivers are those rivers in which there is availability of water throughout the year. So, because of this availability of water throughout this year in these rivers, which are originating in the Himalayas, the northern plains are very much fertile. The second reason is that the rivers, when they flow, they bring along them pieces of rocks, sand, and silt. And the finer silt, when deposited by the rivers, it forms the highly fertile alluvium. Now, what is alluvium? Alluvium is sand deposited by rivers and floods. Now, these alluvium soils are very much fertile and they are very much suitable for agriculture. So, this is the second reason why the northern plains are extremely fertile. The fertile plains make agriculture profitable. There are three large river basins that form the northern plains. The Ganga basin in the center, the Satluj basin in the west, and the Brahmaputra basin in the east. So there are three large basins which together form the non-plains. The first is the Ganga basin, which is in the center. Then towards the west we have the Satluj basin, and towards the east we have the Brahmaputra basin. These rivers cover a large area and form a network throughout the plains. So let's study about these three river basins respectively. First we come to the Ganga basin. The Ganga originates from the Gangotri glacier in the Himalayas. It flows through the states of Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and West Bengal. Yamuna is its main tributary. River Ganga meets River Yamuna at Allahabad. The meeting point is known as Sangam. So the Ganga, it starts from the Gangotri glacier in the Himalayas, and it flows through the states of Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and West Bengal. And Yamuna is its main tributary. Now what is my tributary, my dear children? It means a smaller river that joins a larger river. So Yamuna is its main tributary, and River Ganga meets River Yamuna at Allahabad. This meeting point where the River Ganga and River Yamuna meets, it meets at Allahabad, and this meeting point is known as Sangam. Rainfall is received during monsoon, and eastern parts of the plain receive more rain than the western part. Along with the river Brahmaputra, the Ganga forms the world's largest delta, known as Ganga Brahmaputra Delta. After this, the river splits into many small rivers before entering the Bay of Bengal. At its mouth lies the dense Sundarban forest, which is a natural habitat of the famous Royal Bengal tiger. So in the Ganga basin, rainfall is received during monsoon, and eastern part of the plain receives more rain than the western part. Along with the river Brahmaputra, the Ganga, it forms the largest delta, which is known as the Ganga Brahmaputra Delta. After this, the river, it gets split, that is, it gets separated into many small rivers before entering the Bay of Bengal. At its mouth, we have the dense Sundarban forest, where the famous Royal Bengal tiger is found. The Ganga basin produces more food than any other part of the country. Healthy yields of rice, wheat, jute and sugarcane are produced here. Fishing, navigation, hydroelectricity generation and industries like cotton, textile and sugar mills are supported by the river. So the Ganga basin, it produces more rivers, it produces more food, my dear children, than any other part of the country. And in the Ganga basin, we have a lot of amount of rice is produced, wheat, jute and sugarcane are also produced here. Along with it, fishing, navigation, hydroelectricity generation and industries like cotton, textile and sugar mills are also available because they are supported by the river. Some of the oldest and most densely populated cities in the world like Delhi, Agra, Allahabad, Varanasi and Patna are situated here, which provide employment opportunities. Yes, that is right, because we have the fishing, navigation, hydroelectricity generation and industries like cotton, textiles and sugar mills. That is why these areas and these cities, namely Delhi, Agra, Allahabad, Varanasi and Patna, they are very much famous for employment. People come here to work and earn money, so there is a lot of employment opportunities in these cities. A good network of roads and railways has also been developed in these areas. The floodplains are extensively used for rice, tea and jute farming. So in the Ganga basin, we have a good networking system of roadways and railways respectively. And in the floodplains, rice, tea and jute farming are also done in larger quantity. In Assam, the floodplains form thick marshes where mining of petroleum is also done. These marshes are also famous for their one-horned rhinoceros. So in Assam, the floodplains, they form thick marshes, and because of it, we have the petroleum which is being done in Assam. And in these marshes, that is in thick form marshes, we have the famous one-horned rhinoceros, which you can see in the image where my finger is getting pointed. Now let's see the second river basin, that is the Brahmaputra basin. The Brahmaputra originates in Tibet. It is known as Sanko there. It enters India in Arunachal Pradesh and flows through Assam. Gradually, it flows southward and enters Bangladesh. Before it empties into Bay of Bengal, it joins the Ganga to form Ganga-Brahmaputra Delta. This region receives heavy rainfall, and the fertile soil produced as a result of flooding is excellent for crops like rice and jute. So, in the Brahmaputra basin, we see that it starts from Tibet and it is known as Sangpo. It enters in India through the Arunachal Pradesh and it flows through Assam. Gradually, it flows southward and then it enters Bangladesh. But before it enters Bay of Bengal, it joins the Ganga to form the Ganga-Brahmaputra Delta. And this region, it receives heavy rainfall and the soil is also very much fertile, because of which we have a good amount of crops be grown over there like rice and jute. Now let's see the third and the last river basin, that is the Sutlej basin. The Sutlej originates in Tibet and enters India through the Sipkila Pass in Himachal Pradesh. Beas is the main tributary of Sutlej. In India, the Sutlej basin mainly includes the states of Punjab and Haryana. The Bhakra Nangal Dam built on this river is used to provide electricity and water for irrigation. The main crops produced include wheat, rice, cotton, and sugarcane. So, in the Sutlej basin, we see that it starts from Tibet and it enters into India through the Shipkila Pass in Himachal Pradesh, and the main tributary of the Sutlej basin is Beas. In India, the Sutlej basin includes the states of Punjab and Haryana. The Bhakra Nangal Dam built on this river, it is very much famous and it is very much used to provide electricity and water for irrigation. So we can see that the Bhakra Nangal Dam is very much useful for the people over there. The main crops produced in the Sutlej basin are wheat, rice, cotton, and sugarcane. The river is also harnessed at the Bhakra Nangal Dam to provide electricity. So the river is also being used at the Bhakra Nangal Dam for what? To produce electricity. Amritsar, Jalandhar, Patiala and Ludhiana are some of the important towns situated along its coast. So in Sutlej basin we have some of the important cities like Amritsar, Jalandhar, Patiala and Ludhiana. The northern mountains and the northern plains are two important physical features making the northern part of India. They help us in different ways. Yes, so in this particular chapter, my dear children, we have understood that how the northern mountains, especially the Himalayas, and how the northern plains, especially the Ganga basin, where my finger is getting pointed, the Brahmaputra basin and the Sutlej basin are important for us. And really they are very much helpful for our country. So in this way, my dear children, we have completed chapter number 4 of social science for standard 4. For homework, please read and understand the full chapter, and very soon we will be doing the question answers, fill in the blanks, etc. of chapter 3 and chapter 4 respectively. Thank you.